Greetings, Huns Nation. This is Old Cast coming to you from Palm Desert, California, where a lot of old people live. Season 3, Episode 2 for December 20th, 2021. Happy holidays. The boys went to Little Rock this weekend, brought home a big D2 win, and we've got Andrew Hay. Coach Hay, how you doing?
Pretty good. You?
Doing good too. We got Biff, who came in and put in a 60-minute shift as a finisher because Shane got hurt. Biff, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on for the first time.
Well, it's good to have you, man. And Matt Mitchell, Doormat, is going to join us here in a minute as well. So, Andrew, let's start with you, man. Coach, kind of a thankless job on a rugby club sometimes. You drove the van up, you drove the van back, you coached the boys to a win. How are you feeling today?
I'm tired, but one point is that Doormat drove there and back. He was kind of the unsung hero of the weekend for Van 1, which definitely helped us all. Well, I think it meant we could just listen to Shane more precisely as opposed to having to focus on the road.
Doormat's pretty solid. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
You know, you've been a coach for us, what, is this your 4th year now?
Yeah, I guess it would be.
And you've done everything. You've been the COVID compliance guy, you're the stat guy, you've been the D3 coach, now you're the D2 coach. I don't know if you're heading up or down the pyramid with that promotion, but
just more hats. More hats.
What's your experience like been as a relatively new member of the Huns and as a coach of the Huns?
Well, it's been really good. So when I came to the Huns, I came here from California. I was the forwards coach for a D3 club in San Francisco. And, that was relatively new to me because I hadn't coached since high school. But when I landed on the ground here, the first day my wife and I pulled into town, we went to the annual meeting for the year, and I got to meet the entire club in one sitting. And I was thrown in to be the forwards coach for D1. So it was kind of like, hey, you don't know any of these people, but now you're the forwards coach for them, and good luck. So it was definitely a learning experience, not only, learning the names of 90 people, but trying to adjust to the style of what had been previously laid out for everyone. The strategy was definitely far more articulated than what I was used to. And I think that was really based on the level of rugby that was being played compared to where I was before. So it was definitely a very steep learning curve. And, with any club, the more you share about yourself and what you've done in the past, the more jobs you tend to take on. So that was my first mistake. And I was in charge for stats, and then someone's like, oh, well, could you do stats for D2? How about stats for D3? I'm like, well, that's kind of a full-time job for like a team of 4 people, but sure, yeah, I'll do that. So that lasted for 1 season. That didn't really carry over. It doesn't scale well.
Well,
and as for the COVID officer thing, that was kind of bestowed upon me. Hansel asked me if I'd do it, and he's never really told me that I can stop doing it. And I think I'm still that person because people still tell me if they're not feeling well. So I'm like the team COVID mom, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to have that job either, but we're glad to have you. As for Saturday, it looked like you were driving through rain in biblical proportions. Surely the field was wet. It was a scrum day.
Yeah, it definitely was. Very forward heavy and cold. It got colder by the minute when we finished. I don't know what it was when we kicked off, but the final whistle, it was 44 degrees.
Nice.
So the backs couldn't feel their fingers. Being Canadian, I didn't think I would get cold just standing on the sidelines, but my quads were shaking. So that's kind of new for me. It was a cold day and wet. luckily it stopped raining right before kickoff, so we didn't have to contend with that. But it was a floodplain we were playing in.
Well, rugby's a winter sport, and that sure was a winter's day. Doormat Matt Mitchell has joined us in his tie-dyed Rolling Stones t-shirt. That's some cool threads there, Doormat. How are you doing?
Yeah, this is from their tour in Austin.
Nice. Well, we just were talking to Coach. It was a forwards day. Biff, I wanted you and Doormat both on the program today because I thought you guys both were instrumental in just complete scrum dominance. Longo told me that Little Rock named Despain, in their opinion, man of the match. So I think we should just give man of the match to the whole scrum. Biff, what do you think about that?
Oh, certainly not taking anything away from Zach. He played and anything away from the scrum either, but Zach played 80 minutes, was a leader throughout, really took on the responsibilities there. So I'm glad those intangibles, even his ability, to keep the team together were visible, but there is no question that how dominant the scrum was, and as much as an 8-man would love to take credit for one person pushing 15, got to give it to those guys in the front row, especially Matt Mitchell in the engine room and the locks.
Dude, you still dotted down 3 tries. No one's ever going to be able to take that away from you. There'll be 90-yard runs 20 years from now.
Some have already tried to take it away from him.
He catches a lot of shit.
Yeah, it was.
Format, there's a lot of conversation amongst some of the guys watching the match that you were the cornerstone of the scrum downs. They kept trying to throw different guys at you. Nothing worked. Longo was very complimentary. You had a great game too. Plus he drives the team van. He's the chairman of the board. He does everything. So what did you think about the win on Saturday?
Well, first of all, the front seats are the most comfortable, so that's why I don't mind driving. But 8 hours of caffeine doesn't feel very good the next day, so you can kind of hear my voice is a little hoarse. But I don't know, just it's fun to dominate the scrum. That's what I enjoy, and we had a great day. It wasn't just me; it was all of us. And a couple times Little Rock asked for a scrum off a penalty, and to me that's just like inviting, like, hey, they're asking for this, we'll keep giving it to them. And push around, get a few penalties, let John get a few rodeos, the 8-man picks, and get his hat trick, and it was a good day of rugby.
It wasn't just rodeos either. There were a lot of quick taps, and I got the feeling that it was sort of like Demo was, if you're going to use a football analogy, like, let's just keep running it up the middle. These guys can't stop us. And Biff, one of Longo's best compliments of you was that you didn't just run hard. You had really good footwork. You played good defense. I thought the whole scrum played good defense.
Yeah.
It had to be fun though, coming in the third row. You were third row a couple of years ago. You've gone to second row for the team, and you got to run in the third row again and really make it count. What did that feel like for you coming in when Shane banged his shoulder up a little bit?
Yeah, well, obviously, glad Shane's all right, and he is, and he's always an Iron Man in those games. Certainly, that's a through line for Shane. But yeah, it was before HTX got canceled, was going to be playing 8-man. So thankful for the coaching staff to trust me in that spot, and for Andrew to do the same when we went to Little Rock. So jumped on that opportunity. It's a fun position for me. I get, you get to be a little more in the loose, a little more head of steam than straight coming out of the second row. So appreciative of all those guys in there. But I do agree with the quick taps and the guys taking it. It wasn't, it is being in that position, having been in the second row a lot of times, whether it's been Phil Hansen, Jared Stewart, or anyone that I've really played 8 with. Of course, Patrick having a phenomenal year with us for his first year last year. It's the team tries really. It's better, like you see Keegan, willing it through Sham with his try in the first half. Like those are the scores that go up and the numbers in the CMS. And obviously it's fun to score, but thrilled to be a part. I don't know if we're getting there in the narrative, but I think I'd like to take a second to say the best part about these trips and why you see Huns jumping on at the last minute to get to go and clamoring to be on those spots in the first time is you really get to know everybody and get to know the Huns tenfold more than you did. It could be like a guy like Juice, who saying name, I believe he started in the wing for us, and a bunch of new guys. Like that's just to name one that their name at training. You say hi and goodbye at the end. Maybe you catch them at the wheel. But this kind of trip, it just it takes that times 10 of your friendship and the bond that the whole team has together, and that group that makes us so special. It makes it a fun place to be. So that's really, I think, of course, we want to finish it with the people on the field, but happy, and that's what we're there for. But really happy to get to know all those guys and see how the future of the club and where we're going from there.
There's a lot of
Club
bonding
man.
going on as a result of staying in the first murder hotel, so that everyone came together, not just from a friendship perspective, but from a, if we're going to die, we're going to die as a team in this room kind of perspective.
Safety in numbers.
Well, I also think, Biff, I remember being observing in a board meeting 3 or 4 years ago when you pitched the idea of the 7 scholarship. I know it wasn't your idea alone, but you were part of that team and you pitched it to the board. And one of your premises was, let's stop spending money on plane tickets for foreign players. Let's go out and recruit college kids that can become club men and teach them what it's like to be a Hun, and hopefully they'll stay with our club. And so that has happened with a lot of guys. But what I'm hearing from you on this road trip is that it's an opportunity to be a club man as a finisher here at the last minute and jump on with the group, but also to kind of bring these new guys along and teach them what it's like to be a Hun. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great point. Obviously with any of these things, we like to throw caveats in there. We do have a lot of great friends and welcome foreign players, but that definitely was a part that we wanted to do a better job of in the local rugby community and the college community, and obviously get that talent that's going to stay around for a while. And amongst those, I'm glad Matt's on here because he's the one who actually thought of it technically being a scholarship to make it. Of course, there's a lot of folks who have good ideas around here, and then there's folks like Matt and Weezy who really, put the shovel in the dirt. So happy to get that going, happy to see that. But I agree, the part of this and the bringing folks along, it was a great tradition that we kept from last time, is going to Goodwill, everybody getting, we got like a secret Santa, or you partner up with someone, you get them something, thrift shop goofy to wear, whether it's a Canadian tuxedo or Bruce is in a leather jacket. Everybody's have a good time. It's just those traditions those are the things you remember years forward. And Ryan Kretschmar brought that tradition to us, and so now every time we go to Little Rock, we'd love to see that continue to happen. And that's just what really makes that emotional and long-term bond, and why a bunch of men are going to pay $400 to be a part of a club and have some other man tell them to get on the line and run, as a hobby. That's what it all makes it about. And so appreciative of that. And I think it's a great time and a great call out.
Well, that is a great cultural thing. But as you said, we also need guys like Ansel, Wheezy, Doormat that put the shovel in the dirt. Doormat, there's a lot of good things going on with our club. I mean, D2 is 2-0, D1 is 1-0, totally rolled up the Reds. We had a little bit of an unfortunate finish against the Reds, but the Reds lost to the Blacks over the weekend. So if we can hold serve against the Blacks coming up, the top of the table is going to be tied. But as chairman and as cornerstone prop this weekend, what do you think big picture about what's going on with our club and our culture?
Sorry, I was looking for this while you're asking that question, but this is the Goodwill picture. But
That
yeah.
is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Who's the guy in the hat and the flowers?
That's Cliff.
Oh
The
yeah.
one and only.
I dressed Cliff, just FY. I gave him two options and he picked that one. So
And is this stash on the far right? Is that Zach?
on
No,
the
that's Bruce.
far, that's Bruce.
No, that would be Bruce, who I was just talking about, a great new player that we have. He got his first minutes with the Huns in this game. So
Yeah.
right on that
Cool.
narrative we're talking
Yeah,
about.
appropriate.
What position did Bruce play?
He was a flanker. We
Nice.
when we didn't have the numbers originally, we had him at wing, and his first question was, "Okay, cool. What's a wing?" And then luckily we had some guys step up to come on the tour, and I'm like, "Hey, you don't have to play wing anymore." Like, thank God. Can I still play flanker? Like, yes, you can still play flanker.
I'm covering up.
Coach, while you're on the screen, did anybody throw up in the van? That's the key question on this trip.
Nobody threw up in the van at all. It was. It seemed like it was a little touch and go for a couple of the guys, especially on the way home. Mainly Arugula, and I had concerns about Keegan, but he just kind of slept most of it. But Arugula was probably my number one concern about throwing
Right.
up. And that's because he was sitting right behind me and Matt, so it would have hit us first.
I had to move because I was covering him up, but you can see his he's got his safety gear on in the picture.
His bike helmet and his ski goggles.
But I was just gonna say appropriate that you asked about how the club's doing, because it was awesome playing with all these guys for the first time this past weekend. They played the first D2 game, but this was the first time I played with them, and I think John as well, a lot of these guys. So
Well, you said it was Colton's first rugby trip, right?
yeah, that's what he got a lot of experiences first all in one weekend. Yeah.
Colton's new to the club, and he's been really keen. I think he sipped before even showing up at his first practice, and he's just been trying to get playing time and come to as many practices as possible. So it's good to have him on that trip.
He's got good rugby IQ for sure. Definitely. I enjoyed playing with him and all the other new guys.
Rugby road trips, especially the overnight ones, when you travel, like we went to Mardi Gras once, we went to Shreveport once, we went to Odessa many times. We went to Denver one trip. Those are the ones that you come back with stories that never die.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm still remembering things. But once I do.
Overall, as chairman, Matt, I know we're working on the bleachers. We're finalizing the paperwork on the land.
Yeah.
We already have as many, if not more, social members before the Christmas break than we had all year last year. There's a lot of good things going on with the club right now. As chairman, what are you kind of most happy about that's happening right now with our club?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the land, we're still working on finalizing that, but it's pretty much done. Just the last couple steps here right now. So that's very exciting for me, and being able to work on things that we've been dreaming of for so many years. And that in and of itself would hopefully attract more new players. So, that's what I'm most excited about. But obviously there's a million things to be excited about. So, just onwards and upwards, always doing better than we were last year. And this is year certainly no exception to that.
Biff, you said you were inked in to play number 8 in the D1 match. That's awesome. I'm actually really excited to hear about that. These days it seems like the number 8 is a big, strong battering ram type of position in modern rugby. Are you optimistic that's going to be a good and hopefully permanent change for you?
Well, I never say permanent when it comes to being there, but some things happening this year. Obviously, you got next man up possibility. So certainly excited for the future and what maybe that possibility could hold, and continue to be at trainings and work there. But just wherever we got a great new coach, Ryan. Brian's doing a great job as director of rugby, and part of the thing that goes along with bringing in young talent and the 7 scholarship being as successful as it has been and folks staying around is there's plenty of competition that makes me better. It makes me excited to be there Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday plus. So we'll definitely see about that. I do, obviously enjoyed the position and like playing it. And I'm grateful to have Alex Reese send me constant clips and stuff to keep watching. So it'll be a fun one this season no matter what. But as usual, kind of goes where my old pal Lamani taught me a long time ago about being a utility forward and just being there for whatever the team needs. Sometimes that requires an extra dose of humility to be transparent, and trying to bring that in my arsenal as well as making plays off the back of the scrum. So very excited about that.
I agree with you that Brian Wellborn is doing a great job out of the box as our new director of rugby, and he's thinking about the job differently. Wheezy, I thought, was a great director of rugby too, but bringing in a new person means new ideas and new things like that. One of them being Coach Ryan. So why don't you talk to me a little bit more about our new head coach, Coach Ryan, and just, I know he's only been with us a few weeks, but what's it like running out at training with him and having him lead the show?
Tough thing. I'm glad you gave me that question. It's always a tough anytime you're filling shoes, which sounds funny because his feet are so small, but filling someone's shoes like Adam. Adam was such a, especially for me, and I know for the club, I'm comfortable speaking that way, so instrumental in doing the hard work and some of the rebuild that is so tough. I'm glad to have been one of the people that got to go for this run. Obviously he's not dead, he's not gone, but right now he's just taking a step away to do some things. So for Ryan, that's a kind of a tough spot, especially running trainings from, or like team meetings from Auckland, doing it on Zoom, talking to Brian. I'm sure there's a lot of screen talking, getting prepared over Zoom meetings, coming there, and then as soon as he gets here, as soon as he got here, just what stood out to me was the immediate impact of his patience. He's 28 years old, so he's 2 years younger than me. But just seeing that, he's kind of got, I told him he's got an old soul about him. He wants rugby to work itself out. He comes from more of like folks playing where you can trust in yourselves and trust in your teammates. So really just seeing a lot of patience, but the dedication, his attitude that he's already put in it, whether being there at the turkey fry or, getting us to do one more Bronco and pushing it forward and really advancing the rugby IQ as well as the athleticism. So fantastic job by him. Excited to stay under his tutelage to the rest of the season. I know all the players are very excited to have him here and to just learn something different. It's always good to put something else in your toolbox, if you will, use the analogy. But Ryan's done a fantastic job for us players. I think he's done a great job of incorporating some different things in training, really kind of shaking it up. Guys are excited to get out there to see what new drill, what new scheme we're going to be running, but it all goes under the tutelage of making the right decision with rugby IQ and playing hard and just playing physical.
Andrew, one of the things that we talked with Ryan about when we interviewed him, though, was also coaching the coaches. How is that, from your perspective, working with him to grow your game as a coach?
It's good because it's not all unidirectional. So he's leaning on us as much as we're leaning on him. Because if you think about picking the starting roster for the first match, he's coached the guys one, maybe 2 days. So he doesn't know where everyone should fit. He has some inklings, but he relied on us to help him build the lineup. And then he would just make some adjustments if he thought they were necessary or not. But he has a lot of trust in us just because we've been with the club for years. And he asks our opinion on almost everything. So it's not here's the training plan, take it or leave it. It's here's what I'm thinking for the training plan for this week. Is there anything else you guys think we should focus on or that we need to add or take away or change? And he's very open to communicating his thoughts and receiving feedback. It's been really good.
everybody knows we ask the tough questions here on the old cast. So Biff, this one's for you. I'm really impressed with Reese's announcing, and I know you used to provide great color commentary when Adam would announce the games last year. Is there a future in MLR announcing for you and Alex as a team, announcing some MLR games?
Absolutely. Alex and I are, it has been a great situation with our introduction into media. He got me when he was working at Flow Sports to do a couple of, I think Matt's alumni was actually in the UT, or excuse me, in the college championships. I got to announce that. I'm doing Freetail with for Ryan, for Freetail's tournament for Ryan, and he's hired me to do that. So hopefully we can get Alex Reese on there and get the duo that we've been waiting to do for a while, but very much so, something we've been looking to do cross sports, and it's a great hobby of ours.
So you're already putting together a highlight reel for the big shots, huh? So when your edition comes, you'll have your highlight reel ready.
Well, thankfully, Alex Reese is far advanced in media than I am, and has access to that kind of thing. But we definitely need a bigger book, Bill. So we'll try to keep doing that. Maybe get a Valks game in there as a great test and a great practice run.
Look, I think that would be outstanding. I remember the first time I heard you doing color with Adam, you just got up and started talking and adding points, and Adam kind of stopped and went, "Man, you're really good at this." And
I
I
think
have
he
to
said the
agree,
word,
you're very
Adam's
smooth.
favorite term to use as a coach is actually. Wow, you're actually pretty good at this, which I constantly have a hard time about.
Is that sort of like Alex making lemonade from lemons, same type thing?
Oh, not as much on camera, but still is comical. But as we're talking about it, and say a lot of that in jest, but huge selfless effort to make a last minute trip. Could have had the weekend off. He's been, a lot of things going on for everybody, of course, but something special to me, just like Matt driving the whole way, for Alex to be the club captain, hop in the bus to Little Rock, meet just, up and back, nothing, and call that game so our, friends, family, folks can still stay connected to the Huns, and his willingness to do that, and his, strong ability on the announcing. I think that's a very special thing for the club, and that he would do that for everybody at home and for us players to kind of get to watch that film again.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I sent him a text this morning that said, "Man, as the club captain, for you to go up there and announce that game for all of us and to be with the guys really means a lot." As you well know, because you were on the receiving end of some of it, guys are talking shit in the comments. I went over and checked Discord. Guys are, having a watch party and talking shit over there. And all the pictures are on Discord today. Just the whole thing of Huns media really means a lot. I have a friend of mine that does a podcast. He's trying to be professional at it. He's lucky if he has 40 viewers. And I had to laugh because more people are watching these old casts on Facebook and watching our broadcast than that. This guy's spending money on microphones. And, we got a good thing going.
While we're asking the hard questions, I'm flipping it. When we're going to get when the Huns merch links can get in the old cast, and we can start getting some new merch out there. Because there's one thing the kids love. The kids love kit.
We should have more merch on the old cast. That is a great idea. I'll have to bring Arugula on, and we'll have to figure out a way to do that. I'm not the best tech guy, so I need some tutorials from Doormat and Reese. As we're starting to wind it up here, I got about 4 minutes left on my free Zoom channel here. Doormat, anything else you want to say to the guys? We're going to take a couple weeks off and heal up. I know everybody's a little bit tired from the academy season at the D1 level, and we got a chance to kind of regroup, but isn't it the middle of January? Our next cup match is against the Blacks at Burr.
It is, yeah. So January 4th, we'll be back out of training.
So what do you got to say to the guys from a chairman's seat perspective? Say something inspirational, Doormat.
Go home and fill your heart up with joy. this time of the holidays. If you don't have anywhere to go, reach out to the Huns because we're your family too. And then take it all out in the Blacks once you get back.
I saw a great post from Craig that said exactly that. Rehab, get fresh, get energized, and then the season starts for real. January, that first week after New Year, and hopefully we'll have a couple really good weeks of practice. I think we got a good chance. It looks to me like all three teams are pretty even at the top of the table. So, nothing's been decided yet. Andrew, any closing remarks?
Just, look for that game on January 15th. So that's when we're playing the Blacks. That's going to be, it's always a big deal for us. It's always a big game for all three sides. We're going to have some guys that are coming back from rehab assignments and off the injury bench. And, hopefully we get a ton of people out at practice.
You mean injury rehab, not drug rehab, right?
I hope I mean that. Yeah.
How much are you deadlifting right now?
Right now, 325.
That's a lot, right?
Not as much as it should be, but I'm working up to the next event in the end of July.
I read somewhere you're the 500th strongest old guy your age in the world. Is that right?
I am. Yeah. Yeah.
I will say I think his squat is more impressive than his deadlift personally. So
It is more impressive than the deadlift, that's for sure.
Biff, you got any closing comments for the guys? You're becoming an old timer now. So what do you got to say to the guys and the young whippersnappers?
No. I'm not taking on the old timer moniker yet. I refuse to have that. But I will say that, there is going to be a lot of talk, of course. That's what it's all about, like playing the Blacks in the 15th, especially from a D1 perspective. Our first game dropping one we shouldn't have, and obviously to the Reds, want to give up 30 points in that few amount of time. But it's going to be a great match and a great season going forward. But it's all about just like the picture you see on Matt and the backup of Matt. That's why we do all the trainings, while we run around, while we do these things for the greatness of the sport, and especially our close-knit family as the Huns. So I encourage everyone, not to be political on the old cast, but get tested if you're going to visit traveling family. But then also once you get back, we're all the way leaning in. It's complete dedication, and the trainings are also where you make the memories. So we always want to push that, but it's just been a fantastic time. Appreciate just in the 6 years that I've been a part of the Huns, how much it's that I've seen grow and expand, and appreciate everything that everybody puts into it. And in the games like we'll have again on the 15th and all in the rest of the season, but especially those derby matches is where you really feel it culminate and come all together. So thrilled to be a part of it, and happy to be a part of the old cast finally.
Keyword finally, huh?
He's been waiting for
Well,
us.
you got Demetrio on before me, so we'll always hold that against you. But here we go.
Don't get your feelings hurt. And this picture behind Doormat is the type of shit you'll build friendships from this for the rest of your life. I got buddies like Jerry Acuna I met over 45 years ago that I talk to all the time. Matt, we got about 15 seconds. Any closing remarks?
I was going to say the lady that took this picture was unfazed. So I don't know if that means Little Rock is a party city, or the type of hotel we're staying at. It's par for the course. And the other one is we do appreciate Alex going, but John was mad that he didn't make the first van, and Keegan as well added 2 more bodies to the second van. So John was packed in the back. He wasn't happy about that.
Well,
Hell yeah, brother.
you can't always get what you want on. All right, guys, Huns.
Thanks, Bill.
Peace.
Thank
Up
you.
to the moon.